Recap. Tales of Herding Gods, Chapter 453, Chapter Translators, Editor, Dark Gem. Yu Bochuan's face shifted violently, his expression turning ashen. He retreated hurriedly while shouting, his voice sharp with alarm. "This fellow has escaped the grasp of death itself. Disciples of True Heaven Palace, if we shatter that painting, we can destroy him." At his command, the numerous women surrounding him rushed forward without hesitation, launching their attacks toward the painting. In that instant, dazzling sword radiance erupted into the air. The swordlight trembled, as if alive, and before the astonished eyes of the crowd, it underwent a wondrous metamorphosis. The gleaming light no longer appeared as blades, transformed into vast mountains and sweeping rivers surging forward to strike their faces. The tenors of email disciples of True Heaven Palace were instantly engulfed within the overwhelming tide. Their graceful bodies froze in mid-motion for the briefest moment before they scattered apart like grains of sand carried by a storm. The torrent of mountains and rivers surged with terrifying speed. In the blink of an eye, it swallowed the carriage whole and continued onward, devouring Yu Bochuan, who stood behind it. Formation Master He Yi did not move from where she stood, yet astonishment flickered across her face. "Truly exquisite swordsmanship," she murmured softly. "He is not far inferior to Swordmaster Luo Yinyu." Behind her, many of the powerful figures from the influential families of Bamboo City stirred with killing intent, ready to rush forward and strike down Qin Mu, yet He Yi lifted her hand, stopping them. "There is no need to intervene," she said calmly. "Young Master Yu only requested that we establish a formation to restrain Cult Master Qin of Middle-earth. That was the extent of our agreement. Since we have fulfilled that request, we bear no further obligation to assist him." Thus, everyone was forced to remain where they stood. The raging force of Qin Mu's sword-treading mountains and rivers did not sweep toward them. Observing this, He Yi spoke softly, almost to herself. "He also knows how to exercise restraint." The immense power of sword-treading mountains and rivers had already claimed the lives of more than 10 beautiful disciples of True Heaven Palace. Yu Bochuan shuddered involuntarily, then raised his voice and shouted, "Cult Master Qin, why don't we talk?" His garments fluttered wildly in the wind. Though he was a man, his body was adorned with numerous ornaments and accessories, pieces of silver and jade, chain bracelets, jade pendants, rings, necklaces, hairpins, even longevity pendants. Each one suddenly flew free from his body. These were all his spirit weapons, and each possessed formidable power. None of them had been forged by Yu Bochuan himself. Rather, they were precious treasures bestowed upon him by his elders to safeguard his life. The spirit weapons unleashed terrifying strength. Among them, a green dragon hairpin trembled lightly before transforming into a living azure dragon. Its thunderous roar shook the air, and with a violent blast it tore a massive hole through the rushing mountains and rivers. Yu Bochuan's heart filled with joy as he leapt through the opening. Yet in the next moment, his expression froze. His connection to the green dragon hairpin had vanished. Immediately afterward, his awareness of his other treasures disappeared, one after another. A wave of terror surged through his heart. Qin Mu's incomparably intricate sword technique had severed the vital qi links connecting him to his spirit weapons. Though he possessed many treasures, he could no longer control a single one. Such a sword skill was truly terrifying beyond words. The instant he escaped from the domain of sword-treading mountains and rivers, he saw the dragon Qilin rushing toward him with its massive claws extended. Yu Bochuan immediately removed his outer robe and flung it outward. The garment floated upward against the wind and expanded rapidly, growing larger and larger until it resembled a drifting cloud. The dragon Qilin's claw struck the robe, yet the cloth was soft and hollow as if it contained nothing at all. The beast's massive body sank deeper and deeper into the floating garment. Yu Bochuan seized the moment to flee, running bare-chested. But behind him erupted the dragon Qilin's thunderous roar. Blazing fire surged forth, and the floating robe was instantly reduced to ashes. "Formation Master, save me!" Yu Bochuan cried in desperation. "If I die within Bamboo City, none of you will escape responsibility." At his desperate plea, the 100 experts standing behind Formation Master He Yi frowned deeply. One woman whispered in a troubled voice, "Young Master Yu, is the son of the master of True Heaven Palace. If he dies here, we will indeed be held responsible. Whether it is True Heaven Palace Master or Bargo, neither is someone easy to deal with. Formation Master, please reconsider. He shook her head calmly. We will not save him. Everyone stared at her in bewilderment, unable to comprehend her decision. I cannot kill the Heavenly Devil Cult Master of Middle-earth, he said indifferently. Yet I have already attempted to lay my hands upon him, and thus formed a grudge. If I interfere now and rescue young Master Yu, the enmity between Cult Master Qin and myself will never be resolved. She continued without pause. I have long heard that Eternal Peace of Middle-earth is undergoing sweeping reforms. Their power grows stronger with each passing day. They have already annexed all 6 directions and swept across the 8 wildernesses. The prairie and the snow plains have both been incorporated into Eternal Peace's territory. Their next target will not be the Great Ruins, but our West Earth. If True Heaven Palace loses to Eternal Peace, then the Heavenly Devil Cult will enter West Earth, and that will be our end. A chill ran through everyone present. But He Yi had not finished speaking. Furthermore, she said calmly, as the young master of True Heaven Palace, how could Yu Bochuan possibly lack life-saving methods? Young Master Yu once pursued Nai Kui to the brink of death. Such a feat is not something an ordinary person could achieve. As she spoke those words, a jade belt suddenly flew from Yu Bochuan's waist. It transformed into a massive serpent that wrapped tightly around the dragon Qilin just as the beast lunged toward him. Yu Bochuan fled in panic. But 3 flashes of sword light suddenly streaked across the sky. In midair, Yu Bochuan's body split into 4 separate pieces. His legs continued sprinting forward instinctively, while his head hung suspended in stunned disbelief. His chest had already separated into 2 halves. Qinmu withdrew his sword. Yet in the next moment, the 4 sections of Yu Bochuan's body fell from the sky as nothing more than 4 wooden blocks. To exchange one object for another? Qinmu looked surprised. He raised his hand and caught the sword pellet flying out from his Tao-Ti sack before hurling it forward with great force. The 2-foot sword pellet whistled through the air while spinning violently. Countless flying swords burst from within it, turning into icy streaks of light that plunged into the ground and burrowed forward beneath the earth. Suddenly, a figure burst upward from underground. It was none other than Yu Bochuan. Behind him, the sword lights that had tunneled through the earth chased relentlessly, forcing him out of hiding. Yu Bochuan looked up just in time to see the massive sword pellet descending toward his head. His expression changed dramatically. If that unimaginably heavy sword pellet struck him, his face might be driven straight into his brain, or perhaps his entire head would collapse into his chest. At that moment, his body suddenly transformed into earth and dropped from the sky. Layers of formation markings appeared within his eyes as he stared intently at the ground. His gaze darted rapidly as he searched through countless possibilities. Suddenly, his arms trembled violently. His body shot sideways out of Bamboo City and slammed into a pile of mountain rocks outside the city walls. The pile of rocks exploded instantly, and Yu Bochuan's body emerged from the scattering debris. Formation Master, I will kill him outside the city. Consider this my courtesy to you. When Qinmu's voice rang out across the city, He Yi frowned. She lifted her gaze toward the distance and saw Qinmu extend his hand. Pig's slaughtering knife flew upward of its own accord, and he caught it in a reverse grip. The 2 young men's bodies crossed in midair like spinning tops, their movements intertwining as their strikes clashed again and again. A streak of blood flashed through the air. Qinmu landed on the ground, holding a severed head in one hand. In his other hand, the enormous blade still dripped with fresh blood. Thump! Behind him, Yu Bochuan's corpse crashed to the ground and bounced twice. Within Bamboo City, Formation Master He Yi and the gathered experts stared at the youth carrying the head, their expressions filled with shock. Raise the forbidden blade, and the Emperor's head rests within his hand. Butcher's knife techniques were as bold and arrogant as the poems he once recited. At this moment, Qinmu himself appeared just as proud and unrestrained. He had slain Yu Bochuan, the man whom even He Yi had believed would not die. The young master of True Heaven Palace is dead. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched as heavy emotions weighed upon their hearts. Cult Master Qin had arrived with nothing more than a dragon Qilin and a young princess, yet he dared to storm into West Earth, killing anyone who dared obstruct his path. Now he had raised his blade and slain even the son of the master of True Heaven Palace. He truly resembled a starving tiger overflowing with ferocity. Fully deserving of the title Heavenly Devil Cult Master, it was said that violent winds always precede a mountain storm. True Heaven Palace Master and Bargo had only a single son, young Master Yu. Now that son had died outside Bamboo City. The Heavenly Devil Cult Master from Eternal Peace of Middle-earth was ruthless and decisive. Once he discovered even the smallest opportunity, he would seize it without hesitation and grant his enemies no hope of survival. Escaping alive from his grasp was almost impossible. Only slippery figures on the level of the Grandmaster of Roland Golden Palace had managed to slip through his fingers time and again. Yu Bochuan's ability to escape was far inferior to that of a 10,000-year-old monster, even if he was the son of True Heaven Palace Master and Bargo. He Yi stepped out of the city gates and saw Qin Mu placing Yu Bochuan's head upon the ground. He then produced a jar of wine, poured a cup, and set it beside the corpse. "You like chatting with corpses after killing them?" Qin Mu raised the wine cup and drank deeply before placing the wine jar beside Yu Bochuan's head. His tone was relaxed as he continued, "But I don't enjoy that. No chatting. Farewell." After speaking, he stood and walked toward He Yi. Cult Master Qin He greeted him. Qin Mu returned the greeting with a pleasant expression. "Sister Formation Master, how should I address you?" He looked at him strangely before asking with curiosity, "Cult Master does not know my name? My surname is He, and my given name is Yi." The He family is a prominent surname in West Earth, and through the teachings and influence of my elders, I have gained some modest learning. "So that is the case," Qin Mu replied. "Sister Yi's achievements in formation arts are not bad. Even I could not unravel them quickly and had no choice but to use the world within the painting to escape. Since Sister Yi inherited such teachings from an influential family, your He family's formation skills are truly extraordinary. One might even say they rank third in the world." Behind He Yi, many people showed displeased expressions. Everyone knew the He family's formation techniques were #1 in the world. Yet in Qin Mu's words, they had been reduced to 3rd place. How could they not feel anger? He Yi looked toward Xiong Jie and seemed to recognize the little girl. She smiled faintly. "I do not mind whether my formation skills rank 3rd or 1st, she said. "However, Cult Master bringing the little princess to True Heaven Palace appears to conceal some hidden design. From my perspective, going to True Heaven Palace is no different from throwing away your life. Yet you do not seem like a man who would casually discard his life. Would you enlighten me and solve this puzzle? Sister Yi, would you prefer to discuss this matter here?" He Yi then invited him into the city and led him to the main hall. Qin Mu sat down and spoke solemnly. "Formation Master should know why I've come here, correct?" He Yi's heart trembled slightly. "You intend to help Nai Kui reclaim the position of Palace Master," she exclaimed. "Nai Kui must also be here! She is hiding somewhere." Qin Mu chuckled softly and shook his head. "Sister Yi underestimates me somewhat. My journey here this time is under the Emperor's command to enlist West Earth." Inside the hall, the masters of Bamboo City's influential families exchanged stunned glances. Under the Emperor's command to enlist West Earth? And Qin Mu had come alone? He Yi's eyes flickered with light. "Cult Master Qin speaks with great arrogance. What qualifications do you possess to annex West Earth?" Qin Mu smiled calmly. "I am the Heavenly Devil Cult Master. That alone is a qualification. My Heavenly Devil Cult commands 1 million divine arts practitioners. With a single wave of my arm, those million will gather. With the point of my finger, that army of practitioners will sweep forward and crush everything before them. Your West Earth has enjoyed peace for far too long. Your cities and lands act independently without unity. Not even the Emperor's martial strength is required. My Heavenly Devil Cult's million practitioners alone would regard you as nothing more than chickens and dogs, incapable of resisting a single blow." He rose to his feet with his hands clasped behind his back. I forged the sunshot divine cannon that shot down the jade sovereign of high heavens. I subdued the dragon-rearing sovereign and stationed him to guard surging river. I subdued Bai Shi of high heavens and commanded him to guard 100 years mountains. My eternal peace battled at God-broken mountain and annihilated every god of high heavens. His gaze swept across the hall like flashing lightning. If I wished to destroy West Earth, it would be no more difficult than snapping my fingers. The faces of everyone present turned pale. Then Qin Mu smiled faintly. However, I do not wish to see the people of West Earth exterminated, nor do I wish to disturb the peace that exists here. If Nai Kui were to claim the position of Palace Master, she would lead True Heaven Palace to submit to eternal peace. Not a single soldier would need to march, and no lives would be lost. If placing myself in danger could achieve such a result, what harm is there? He looked toward He Yi. My safety is insignificant compared to the lives of the people of West Earth. Sister Yi, would you be willing to assist me? He Yi looked toward the masters of Bamboo City's influential families and saw terror etched across their faces. She frowned slightly before a smile blossomed across her lips. Cult Master Qin stated that my formation skills rank 3rd in the world, she said lightly. May I ask who holds the position of number 1? And who ranks 2nd? Yi is quite curious to know. Translatel's editor Dark Gem. Though He Yi had spoken earlier as though rank meant nothing to her, whether 1st or 3rd, she could not truly suppress the stirrings of curiosity within her heart. In the lands of West Earth, her name was synonymous with mastery. She was honoured as the Formation Master, unrivalled in the art of formations. Yet even she did not dare proclaim that her attainments were the greatest beneath the heavens. Still, after standing at the summit for so many years, the spark of competition within her had never faded. Qin Mu, the cult master of the Heavenly Devil cult, possessed broad experience and unfathomable insight. Thus, she wished to know who, in his mind, held the 1st and 2nd seats in the world of formation arts. Sister Yi may not be aware, Qin Mu said with a sincere expression, but I hail from the number 1 family in formation skills within the Great Ruins. The number 1 master of formations beneath the heavens is none other than my grandpa Blind. He Yi's dark eyes widened as she stared at him. He was from the Great Ruins' number 1 family of formations, and the foremost master of formations was a blind man? Does Cult Master Qin perhaps hold a misunderstanding about formation skills? He Yi asked calmly. Formation arts tread the path of algebra. The simplest example is the Palace of 9 Halls. Kan, Kun, Zhen, Shun, Zhong, Qian, Dui, Zhen and Li represent 9 numbers that never repeat, and together their sum becomes 45. A slightly more complex structure would be the 8 trigrams, shifting from the octal system into base 64, giving rise to endless transformations. Beyond that lie the 5 elements. The 5 elements, 8 trigrams, encompass the quinary system, the octal system and base 64. More profound still are the Taiji and Wuji diagrams. Their circumference has no end, yet no matter how delicate and intricate the calculations become, flaws will always remain. So what attainments could a blind man possibly possess in algebra? Sister, look into my eyes, Qin Mu said with solemn gravity. He Yi did not understand his intent, yet she still leaned forward slightly and carefully examined his pupils. The moment she did so, her mind trembled violently. Within the boy's eyes before her, formation markings gradually emerged, weaving themselves into existence as the 1st heaven appeared. The mathematical transformations flowing within those formations dazzled her senses. Before she could fully grasp it, the 2nd heaven had already formed, and the mathematical transformations within it were even deeper and more intricate. Then came the 3rd heaven, the 4th heaven, and when the 5th heaven, bright heaven's eyes, manifested, the formations within Qin Mu's gaze finally came to a pause. The 1st heaven of the 1st layer alone contained algebraic attainments that could be called the pinnacle of perfection. At Qin Mu's current cultivation, he could only perform the 9 heavens' eye awakening skill. Yet the transformations within his eyes had not ceased. A sun was born there, accompanied by stars. The stars gathered together to form the Milky Way, circling the sun behind it. Inside the main hall, the 100 leaders of the influential families stared at one another in utter dismay. He had unknowingly leaned so close that her face was almost touching Chinmu's. The two gazed into each other's eyes, as though they were lovers locked in a passionate stare, unable to look away. "Cough, cough!" At last, a white-haired old woman coughed twice, reminding their city lord to maintain her decorum. Only then did Yi regain her senses. Her face instantly turned crimson, and she stepped back quickly before speaking firmly. "This Grandpa Blind can indeed be called the #1 formation expert in the world. I am ashamed to admit my inferiority." Chinmu's face was also faintly red. Yi's closeness had made his heart race. "In the past, when I studied the eye awakening skills under Grandpa Blind, I did not try to comprehend the transformations of the formations within them. Grandpa Blind's divine eyes can see through all fabrications, space, formations, and transformations of techniques. Only after I learned the Dao sect's algebra did I come to understand the mathematical transformations hidden inside them. The Dao sect uses algebra to comprehend everything beneath heaven and the workings of the universe. The reason Grandpa Blind's divine eyes can see through everything is because algebra is the truth of this universe. That was when I realized that Grandpa Blind was the true #1 in formation skills." Yi suppressed all stray thoughts and spoke resolutely. "If he wished to break the formation of my bamboo city, it would be effortless for him. He truly deserves the title of #1. Then, who is the #2 expert in the world?" Chinmu smiled somewhat awkwardly. Yi's black eyes widened as she stared at him. Then she exclaimed, "You are the #2 formation expert?" Chinmu blushed slightly. "At first, I didn't dare call myself #2, but after witnessing Sister Yi's formation skills, I feel that I can still occupy the second position." Rage surged within Yi's chest, yet she clenched her teeth and forced a smile. "I dare not compete for the #1 position, but I am unwilling to accept being pushed down to #3. Cult Master Qin once proclaimed himself #3 in poisoning and defeated Mu Yingxie, forcing that girl to personally admit that her poison ranked only 4th in the world. And now you declare your formation skills to be #2 as well. Doesn't that sound somewhat strange? Let us have a duel." "What kind of duel?" Chinmu asked with keen interest. Yi hesitated briefly before speaking with a smile. "It will still revolve around Bamboo City. You will remain outside while I stay inside, standing here without moving. If you can enter the city and find me, I will admit that I am inferior to you and accept the position of #3. Not only that, from this day onward, the He family and its people will take you as our sole guide. If you wish to support Naikui in reclaiming her position as Palace Master, my He family will fully support you." Chinmu burst into laughter and turned around to walk out of the city. Inside the hall, the 100 strongest practitioners of Bamboo City exchanged bewildered glances. An elderly woman was about to speak, but Yi raised her hand to stop her. "There is no need to say anything further. I will use this opportunity to observe the formation attainments of eternal peace. If my formation is broken, Bamboo City will fall when eternal peace invades in the future. Since that is inevitable, we might as well submit in advance. If Cult Master Qin can break my formations, we will still have the chance to fight when the final day arrives. Retreat. Cult Master Qin and I will determine the fate of Bamboo City through this duel, and perhaps even the fate of West Earth." With no other choice, everyone withdrew from Bamboo City. The city gate was left wide open. Chinmu instructed the Dragon Qilin to bring out Xiongxia, and then he stepped into the city. At that very instant, the entire city changed. All the buildings sank into the ground and disappeared without a trace. Massive rocks rose into the air, evolving into layers of formations. The appearance of Bamboo City underwent a tremendous transformation. To ordinary observers, it simply looked like strange rocks drifting and shifting in the sky. Most people would never comprehend the formation changes hidden within those movements, but Chinmu could see them clearly. In his eyes were magnificent and ever-changing. Every movement of the stones filled him with incomparable delight. Every rune linked seamlessly with the next, and the entire structure intertwined in harmonious complexity. To him, it was a breathtaking sight. Whether it was defensive barriers or lethal killing formations, all of them were nothing more than mathematical reasoning. Formation markings appeared within Chinmu's pupils as he strode forward swiftly. Sometimes he stopped to raise his brush and modify certain formation markings. At other times he stepped forward once or staggered backward 3 steps like a drunken wanderer. Occasionally he seemed to have springs beneath his feet, like leaping among the moving stones with lightness and grace. At times he glided elegantly through barriers as though flying through the air. At other moments he seemed to charge forward with brute force. Just when it appeared he would crash headlong into a stone wall, the barrier suddenly split open, allowing him to pass through. As he leisurely wandered while solving one complex algebraic problem after another, he gradually approached the center of Bamboo City. Everything inside continued to transform. Even the main hall where they had been earlier had collapsed and vanished. The only thing that remained unchanged was He Yi's position. She stood quietly upon a stone pillar, unmoving. From there she executed countless transformations of Bamboo City's formations, constantly adjusting and rearranging them to block Chinmu's advance. But this situation was different from before. Previously, Chinmu had been ambushed and trapped within the city, making the contest unfair. Now he was charging through the formation at his own pace. This was a true test of whose mastery over formation skills was superior. After some time, He Yi saw Chinmu's figure drawing closer and could not help feeling anxious. She frantically manipulated enormous stones to construct new formations. Yet Chinmu continued advancing steadily. The place where He Yi stood was the center of Bamboo City. It was also the formation eye of the entire city. Chinmu was now only 30 yards away. The final layer of formations might not be able to stop him. Suddenly He Yi clenched her teeth. Bamboo City trembled violently. The formations before her were activated, transforming the entire city into an absolute killing ground. One killing formation linked with another, multiplying their power madly as they surged toward her position. She had activated the final resort formation. It disregarded friend and foe alike. Whether it was Chinmu or herself, both would be devoured by the killing formation. As the formation master of West Earth, He Yi bore the honor of the He family upon her shoulders. She could not allow her family's reputation to be tarnished. If the title of number 1 in formation skills were lost, then even death would be preferable. She had to protect the honor of the He family. Chinmu's expression shifted slightly. Before the deadly formation could reach them, he arrived beside He Yi. With one hand, he grasped her waist, while with the other he raised his brush and began painting in the air. He Yi closed her eyes as the killing formation surged forward to swallow them both. Yet when nothing happened, she opened her eyes again. They were no longer inside Bamboo City. Instead, they were hidden deep within its spatial layers. However, when the absolutely fatal formation exploded, it tore through the world inside the painting and rushed toward them. The painted world in which they stood was beginning to collapse. Chinmu's expression grew solemn. His brush moved like dragons and serpents, shifting with countless transformations. Suddenly, He Yi felt a force tug at her waist. She was pulled into another painting. They rushed into it, and before her eyes appeared a beautiful landscape of mountains and rivers, flowers blooming in romantic splendor. The scenery was breathtakingly pleasant. But in the next instant, Bamboo City's killing formation shattered that world as well, and a force capable of destroying everything rolled toward them. "You are not using formation skills to resolve my formations," He said sternly as she gazed at the boy beside her. "Even if you escape Bamboo City's killing formation, I will not admit defeat." "You are number 2 in formation skills," Chinmu replied with a hearty laugh. "I simply will not compete with you. Would that be acceptable?" His brush danced wildly, splashing ink like a carefree scholar, before Bamboo City's deadliest formation could destroy their painted world. He led He Yi into yet another realm. Above them stretched a sky filled with brilliant stars. They shone like radiant jewels, illuminating the vast darkness. Chinmu carried He Yi onto those stars and began sprinting across the starry heavens. His brush never paused as he painted the Milky Way. Behind them, the deadly formation continued its relentless pursuit. Ignoring it completely, they leapt into the river of stars and drifted far away. The Milky Way flowed downstream, and Chinmu held tightly to He Yi's waist so she would not be swept away. When she finally regained her footing, her mind was still dazed. She saw Chinmu swinging his brush again and pulling her forward as he leapt onto a newly drawn celestial horse. The creature sprang out of the painting and became real. It galloped forward, wings beating fiercely as it accelerated, carrying them far away from the killing formation. Once more, Chinmu raised his brush and splashed ink freely. A door appeared before them. When it opened, bright light shone from beyond. The celestial horse rushed through the doorway. Yi stared in shock when she realized they were standing upon a mountain peak outside Bamboo City. Still holding her waist, Chinmu leapt down from the celestial horse. The creature flapped its wings, lifted its front legs, and neighed before dissolving back into ink that fell upon the ground. In the distance, numerous leaders of Bamboo City's influential families hurried toward them. An elder was about to speak when Yi smiled gently and said, "I have lost. Cult Master Qin's formation skills are number 2 beneath the heavens. My He family and everyone of Bamboo City will follow him wholeheartedly." Chinmu looked at her with a bewildered expression. Within Yi's eyes, a trace of tender emotion slowly emerged. Her gaze flowed like clear autumn water.